Welcome to Dailey Woodworks. Today I'm going to show you how to build this easy to make dog bed. This is a great beginner's level project. Doesn't take a lot of tools, doesn't take a lot of skill set. Supplies needed are minimal, and I even have a set of downloadable plans for you to use to build this bed with all the dimensions, cut list, material list, and required tools. As far as required tools, you can build this entire thing with a circular saw and a drill and driver to drive some screws. In this, I use more advanced tools like my miter saw. I've got a track saw, those different things, but for the things you would need that tool for, you can either have the guys at Home Depot cut it to size for you, or you can cut an angle with just your circular saw and a speed square for a guide. So let's get started and let's get this guy built. So in all of our plans, we have, an overview, 3D schematic, licensing, material list, tools required, cut list, assembly instructions, and then finally kind of some pictures of what it looks like. And there you go. So let's scroll up to the top and let's get started. Okay, so we got our base cut. If you don't have the tools to do this at your house, you can actually have them cut it to size at most hardware stores if they have a panel service. And I size this in a way that you can buy those 2 foot by 4 foot quarter sheets of plywood and cut it down. So you're not stuck buying a full $50 sheet of plywood to make this one item. So now I'm just moving over to my cut list. I'm going to go ahead and set up my stop block on my miter saw. And again, I tried to make this where you can do the entire thing with a circular saw. So if all you have is a circular saw, make a couple of homemade jigs for it, and you are gold. You can make this entire project easy peasy. But since I have the fancy tools, I'm going to use the fancy tools. So here's the material that we're using. This is called a 1x6 white pine beaded tongue and groove board. You can see it's got the tongue right here, the groove right here, come together like that and stack up. And then on this side you'll have like a V groove, and on this groove you'll have the bead board. So it's kind of whatever you want there on the outside. This is relatively inexpensive material. It's easy to acquire at any box store, and it's easy to work with. It's pine. It's going to smell like pine, but it's non-toxic. It's safe to work around. It's good stuff. So now it's time for some assembly here. Just going to stack these up like so. It's too high. Those will lock together. Now you can, if you want to, if you have a table saw, you can rip off the tongue and the groove on the bottom just to give a little bit more finished look. But that's one of those things that's completely optional. And that is something that I am going to do. If you don't have a table saw, I would recommend skipping this part because you don't really have a safe way to do it. It's just something that I do because, you know, it's a little extra something that I do for my customers to make it just a little bit fancier finished product. Okay, so we've got pieces cut and ready to go. Now it's just time to assemble. Start with the side. You can face the beadboard out. You can face the beadboard inside. It's whatever you want to do. I'm going to put the beadboard to the inside. Run a bead of glue. Just always get it close to the edge here where I can set it down. Put that to the inside on the short edge. Make sure I'm lined up appropriately. And being this close to the edge allows me to get my gun in here and shoot it with some 1.5 inch 16 gauge nails. If you don't have a nail gun, you can screw this with some just drywall screws would be fine. Or you can hand nail it, whichever you prefer. Alright, so we're good there. I'm going to flip and same thing. Bead of glue. Make sure you're aligned. Pull that to the edge of the workbench. I do have plans for my workbench too. I call it the perfectly boring workbench because it's boring. It's super simple to make. It does what it does. It's not designed to be complicated or fancy. And you can upgrade it as your skills improve or your needs changes. So it gives you kind of a modular footprint to grow with. Now, if you've done woodworking before, you're going to notice there's an issue right now with the design, and that even though this is glued, it's not fastened, so you could theoretically pick up this whole top section. We're going to address that in just a minute. So now I've got to cut my angled pieces, my dark purple and light purple. I've already got this, guys, is a long enough piece of scrap. So I measured over my measurement that's in the plans. And now I'm just double checking everything, making sure I've got it fully marked so I know where everything is. And with my speed square, I'm going to come do a 45 on that, line up with the corner, and come over. That's going to give us our piece. The other one will be cut from the other side. This part's optional, but I believe it gives a lot of extra strength. So I've just got a 1x2 here, so it's 3/4 by 1.5 inches. You can just use scrap wood. You can purchase this, whatever you want to do, but just a 1x2. Doesn't have to be exactly that. I'm just going to set it here, scribe a line with my pencil, so now I have my perfect height. I'm going to cut it. So I cut the size. I'm just going to go right here. And for grins, I'm going to put just a little bit of glue on here to help it hold together. And this is just going to reinforce these corners. There you go. So like I said before, you can either screw this on or you can nail it in place. I've switched to my 18 gauge gun because it shoots a little shorter nail, so I don't have to worry about it piercing through the other side of my wood. So these are 1.25 inch nails. Alright guys, thank you for watching this video. If you haven't already, be sure to like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, and if you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. We do a little bit of everything, just because this is my channel, I'm just going to do kind of what I want with it. So I do builds like this where you can build a project alongside me, buy some downloadable plans, build this yourself. I also do shop tours, shop projects, jigs, fixtures, etc. One thing I often do is 5-minute tool reviews where I review tools that I have bought with my own money. It's not sponsored, it's just I've spent money on this tool, I've used it for a while, here's my opinion of it, so you can make informed buying decisions. And then the last thing I do is the business of carpentry. And that is just vlog type videos that go more in depth on what it's like to run a full-time woodworking and carpentry business. And so if you're interested in all that, give me a subscribe. If not, then thank you for watching anyway, and we will see you next time. Oh, one more thing. I'm going to stain and seal this real quick. I have a older video that's not the greatest quality, but the information in there is solid on how to stain and seal this yourself. And I will link to that in the description below. So be sure to check out that video on how to stain and seal your woodworking project. And that's what we're going to do real quick before we go. We still got to sand, fill, and stain.